the knowledge broker has time, is available, can be approached on a much more regular basis than lecturers who have other engagements at the same time.
Hi, and welcome to the podcast of Socially Engaged Universities. We travel past 5 European cities, stopping at Exeter, Parma, Ghent, Magdeburg, and today, Delft. All these cities are part of a network called Socially Engaged Universities, who have tried for the last 2 years to find solutions how to engage better with the local context and assisting in solving societal issues. But most importantly, these cities also got to work. They didn't only study the issues, they did it. They piloted new ways for universities to engage in such societal projects. Today, my colleague Sam Peper and myself, Stephanie Schuddebeurs from the Hague University of Applied Sciences, talk to Dutch guests.
Yes, so we are in Delft. Delft is famous worldwide for its royal blue pottery and its connections with the Royal House of Orange-Nassau. It is also home to the technical university referred to as the TU Delft, a dependence from the Hague University of Applied Sciences, and in Holland University of Applied Sciences. The majority of the studies in Delft are technical studies, and so Delft is a real beta city, with a lot of internationals. With us today are Karijn Nijhoff, Senior Researcher at the Metropolitan Development Research Group at the Hague University of Applied Sciences, Paul de Wit, the resident organization THUAS, and Gerben Helleman, the knowledge broker in Delft. Karijn, let's start with you.
All right, good morning.
When I was reading the project, I came across the term knowledge broker. Can you maybe explain to us what a knowledge broker is exactly? And what does he do in Delft?
The knowledge broker is a new position that was implemented in different cities in slightly different ways. We looked at the knowledge broker in Delft, and in Delft the knowledge broker had the function to be the intermediate person between the three universities, so the Technical University and the two Universities of Applied Sciences, the municipality, and questions from within society. So that was his explicit function in a certain neighborhood, Tandhof, that was picked because of its diversity in questions from the neighborhood.
Can you maybe tell us a bit more about this project in Tandhof?
In Delft, the knowledge broker, his explicit function was to connect universities, municipality, and inhabitants or civil society. He started 2 years ago, and he was appointed. He already kind of knew the neighborhood, so that was a big advantage. He had lived there for a while, and he also was already connected to 2 of the 3 universities, so he already had a good network. And from that network, he was able to meet with different people, to set up different meetings, to connect different players, and to start different projects in the neighborhood. And as a university, we reflected on his role in 2 projects in the neighborhood. One of the projects was about a care home in the area that was new in the area, and there were some issues arising with the residents. And one of the other case study we did was with the neighborhood association that had certain questions for students to investigate.
Okay, so with us today is also Paul de Wit of the residents organization Tandhof. And I was wondering, Paul, can you maybe describe Tandhof for our listeners? What kind of neighborhood is Tandhof?
Tandhof exists, good morning by the way, Tandhof exists of 2 separate parts. Tandhof East and Tandhof West. It's the largest neighborhood of the district of Delft. In total there are about 18,000 inhabitants in this district, this neighborhood. Mainly consisting of multi-family houses and single-family houses. It's a typical family district of Delft. The houses are built in about the period of 1976 until 1990. So it's not really aging houses, but they are of an energy state that is not well and not bad. And we are in a specific situation in our neighborhood that people are aware of the fact that we will face the energy transition that in the Netherlands is taking place now. We are going out of gas. The gas delivery will be stopped in 2050. And up till then, we have to prepare our homes to that situation. Many of the homes are getting its warmth heated by gas. And that was one of the main issues to investigate. As a resident association, we got many questions of the residents how to solve this problem and how to deal with it. And we were searching for a way to examine this and to help the residents in their needs. But we got stuck until we got in touch with the intermediate person that was mentioned before, the knowledge broker, and he helped us a lot to get a good project definition, a good research definition, to get in contact with the knowledge institutes in Delft, or in the neighborhood of Delft, The Hague. And that resulted in a very interesting project for the students and very nice results for the inhabitants of the residents of our district.
Was this the first time that you, as a resident organization, worked with students?
Yes, that was the first time that we worked with students, and it hasn't been the last time, because our experiences are very well with this. But we were in search of how can you get a problem, research for a problem you have in your neighborhood, without having much money to spend for such a research, and still get a good result. And this was the perfect solution for our needs.
Oh, that's super interesting. Can you maybe give an example of one of those cases where a student came with a solution and you thought, whoa, this is actually mind-blowing maybe?
Well, mind-blowing is, I think, too much to state.
Especially for Dutch standards. We don't give 10s easily. So.
Well, I think what the best thing they did for us, the students, is that a student isn't seen by the inhabitants as someone with a stature, the gap between the residents and the students who visited the houses of the residents to examine their house, to look at the possibilities to have isolation of the building, to get use of other types of heating of the building. It was they were very close to each other, and that's because the students were only 20, 21, 22 years old. It was a very almost cozy way of examining a problem.
Right.
It wasn't examined by an institute who was getting paid to do such a research. But it was a kind of a voluntary research by students of a problem that the residents are having. And that's what I meant with a gap. It almost felt familiar to the residents to have students in the house, to go through their home, house, and examine what can be improved to solve the problem of the energy transition we are facing.
Right, so it was very low key, very
it was
easy
very
to connect
low
with
key,
them.
yeah. And
Yep.
still, it was of good quality. It wasn't a minor research. The reports they wrote were very well and thought, good and with depth. But for the residents, we asked them, and again, that was with the help of the knowledge broker, not to read a thick report, but they presented their results in the form of an infographic, an A3 size infographic that said it all to the residents.
Right.
And it stated all the needs and the possibilities to improve their home in one image. And that
You said
was
that was with the help of the knowledge broker. So what did he exactly do, or did he suggest, or what was his role?
the last thing. He with us, we were as a resident association, were seeking for the best way to inform our residents. And by talking to him and searching for the possibilities, he came with the suggestion, why not have the students draw an infographic? Not very difficult, technical, but and that's what I tried to say. It was very near to and familiar almost to the residents. And that's something else when you get a well-paid institution or a commercial party to write a report. You have to pay for it a lot, and it's almost always difficult to read,
Right.
and difficult to explain. But students have the ability to explain difficult things in a easy way, and that's what was mind blowing for us, and that's why we are really seeking for more possibilities to use knowledge institutions, students from knowledge institutions who are learning their thing, to help us in examining the needs of the inhabitants.
This knowledge broker, he's independent. He's working for all of the institutions and not for only one of them. And why is it so important that he's independent?
The financial structure was set in a way that he was working for three knowledge institutions and the municipality. So he wasn't employed officially by any of them, but by all of them. And in that way, he was able to prioritize all interests, not just the interests of a university or of the municipality or of the inhabitants. He was really able to shift over the levels to see what was needed and what was possible. Because as Paul said, student research can be super interesting and very well done, but you need to find the right problems. The students, you cannot expect second year or third year students to investigate very complex problems or very long-term problems. It has to fit in the curricula of the program, and it has to fit the capacities of the students.
I wanted to get back to Paul and ask him, so you got these beautiful infographics, 8 different groups advising you on different ways that you could make your homes more energy, less energy consuming. Sorry for that. Exactly. And so did you get to work? Is your house now completely upside down? And are you, or those of your neighbors? What's the effect of all these more beautiful advices that you received?
My personal home didn't need many adaptations. I was always keen on having an energy-friendly home. So it didn't help me, but I have experienced myself how difficult it is to find your way in the information on the internet and to find the right way and the best financial possible way to improve your home. And all inhabitants of our district are facing the same problem. So that's why we asked the students, please set up an easy to understand way to inform and stimulate the inhabitants to start isolating their homes and to start improving their homes. And I have a few examples of people who were stimulated by what we did as a residents association and who started to improve their home. And they reported it back to us. Can you give an
example of that?
No, and they all stated that often with not many investments, it was possible to improve their home, to lower their gas consumption, to have a better financial situation. The costs of heating your home was reduced. So they were very enthusiastic. These results were published by us on our website of the Residents Association, and that's a stimulus for new residents to do the same. And it's spreading like an oil stain in a way, and that's exactly what we intended to do. The only thing that was really sad, that was it all took place in COVID situation, so there was no possibility to have the students really present in live, in real, to the inhabitants of our district. But by publishing the infographics on the internet, on our website, and by trying to use the local news agencies and to publish about it, we had a fairly good spread of the news through our district. Was that an answer to your question?
Well, I wanted to ask, like, what people really did, what the inhabitants really got to do. Like, did they
for
put new isolation or
the placement of solar panels on their homes,
Right.
Using solar energy, isolate their homes better. Just only isolate the front door. It's very simple. It's a few euros on the costs are few euros, 10, 20 euros, but all these small measurements, all these were resulting in fairly impressive results for the inhabitants.
Carijn, are there any other lessons that you really drew from researching the functioning of the knowledge broker, the pros and the cons? Also from the different partners, I can imagine there are different perspectives on what's really helpful about him or even annoying sometimes maybe.
No, I think that the position of a knowledge broker is really helpful to connect, as we said, the different parties. There are some challenges. For example, Paul was telling about student results that were wonderful and very helpful and very to the point. But of course, since they're students, it's also a risk that the results are not what the residents or what the partner desired, because it's a learning process. They're students. They're second year, third year, fourth year students, and they can fail. And they should be allowed to fail. So that level of expectation needs to be managed. And the knowledge broker, that's part of the function of the knowledge broker, to make sure that inhabitants don't expect a professional presentation, but it's a student presentation. That the municipality cannot expect a full report with full detail and every question answered. It's a student report. So that's very important to keep those expectations in line. And similarly, what can a university expect from inhabitants? We can, as Paul was saying, we cannot expect a neighborhood to read 100 reports every semester. So there's a careful management of expectations, of wishes, of research questions, and that's important. It can be challenging. Of course, time can be a complex issue if a municipality has a question, but students are in the midst of their semester. The municipality will have to wait, and especially with COVID, that created some issues because all of a sudden we couldn't go into the or students couldn't go into the neighborhoods, but had to do their interviews from their home. But they had to be done. There's no time to wait 2 years because they're students and they're in a program and they want to finish their program. So that's difficult, or can be difficult and can be complex. And the connections are very important, that the knowledge broker is there to keep all parties informed and to keep everybody connected.
I can also imagine that it's challenging to, as a residence organization, this time you had a quick connection with the knowledge broker and with students. But sometimes, I know that working for the University of Applied Sciences myself, it's really sometimes very difficult to be flexible as an institution of knowledge, to really respond quickly to societal issues. Did you also find that, Karijn? I mean, the curricula that are just going on and being produced, it's like a factory as well, a bit like a University of Applied Sciences sometimes.
Well, it has to fit in the curricula, and as a knowledge broker, you have to find the right department to present your question, and that can be challenging. And then, in that way, luckily, this knowledge broker was connected already to 2 of the 3 universities, so had some ways in. But that can be time-consuming to find your way in and to find the right department and to find the right program and to find the right person in the program. So yes, it's complex. It's a nice puzzle. The knowledge broker really has to be a spider in that web of different organizations and different time frames, different demands, different desires.
So, for example, I can understand that if you're a teacher, you also have to teach classes, and it's very hard for you to then also plan all the things a knowledge broker does.
No, correct. And he's a great support for the university lecturers to help build connections and also to help with student progress, to help students find people to interview. Again, especially with COVID, his connections in the neighborhood were very helpful. Because the student couldn't walk around. Normally, you sent students into the neighborhood and let them do their thing and find their ways. That was now not allowed, not possible due to COVID restrictions. And there, the knowledge broker was a very good step or connection in between the different parties so that the research could be done and students could continue.
And I experienced that the knowledge broker was better reachable than the lecturer, because he or she was lecturing, and when from my position from the residents association I needed contact, it was very much easier to have contact with the knowledge broker, and as a spider in the web, he was the one who set out the actions, and but he didn't do that in a way that we were 100% depending on his role and his position. So that it was really a helpful person, but I think a lecturer couldn't have reached the same results as we had by using the knowledge broker.
Because
he was really needed 100% to help us having the research results we had in the end. I'm confident of that.
Yeah, you are very convinced of this, and of course we want to know exactly the reasons behind it. So what I hear is that he was very available, so you could easily reach him. He had dedicated time. Did he do other things besides this that made it really great to work with him?
For instance, he interviewed the work group from the resident association who organized this research. And he came in the evening. He came to my home with the other persons of my work group to interview us. For a lecture, this isn't always possible. He was not 24 hours a day available, but he was more available. And we knew one thing: when if we asked him something, it was dealt with within a day or 2 days. For us, it was really, really great confidence that we had a person near us to help us in this way.
Yeah.
We weren't 100% dependent, because when we acted with the students, we did it directly. He wasn't an intermediate in that. And the students could contact us directly too, and that was really necessary. But when we needed help, he was almost always available. And I think that's catalyzing such a project. It's really needed. It's the oil in the machinery.
So, and Paul already told us that in the neighborhood there are already 2 other projects going on.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, Karijn, you told us that it's not sure if this position will stay because it's still within the pilot project. But can you tell us a bit more about that? Does the municipality see that this knowledge broker is actually very helpful for the city and the institutions?
All people that we spoke to see lots of benefits from a knowledge broker in the area. Municipality, we spoke to 2 people from the municipality. They had very good experiences, and similar as Paul, the knowledge broker has time, is available, can be approached on a much more regular basis than lecturers who have other engagements at the same time. So the municipality was very happy with the position of a knowledge broker. The universities that we spoke to, people from the universities that we spoke to, were very happy with the knowledge broker. Similar reason, again, he has time, he has a way to make contact, he can support lecturers, he can support students. The funding is from a national agency, from the City Deal, so that's a different step and a different trajectory on how the position of a knowledge broker will or will not be continued.
So the main problem is the funding for the city?
Not yet. It could be. And there needs to be, because of the independent position of the knowledge broker, there's not one institution that can say, okay, it's going to continue. They all have to work together and find a way to make it continue.
Okay, I want to thank you very much, Karijn and Paul, for this very interesting information you shared with us. And I think I speak for both of us that we say that we would really love to see this develop and maybe hear from you in the future.
Yeah, we'd love to tell you more and more.
Exactly.
Thank you.
To complete the story of this podcast, we spoke with a real knowledge broker, Gerben Helleman.
Okay, so hello Gerben. Can you describe the neighborhood you work in Tantel for us? What does it look like? Who lives there? What are the main social challenges you identified?
Yes, of course. Tantel is the largest district in Delft with almost 7,000 houses and 14,000 inhabitants. And it lies in the most southern part of Delft. And it's really spatially laid out with a lot of greenery and water. And it's what you can call a very residential area with some imagination. You can also call it a suburb. And if you look at the houses, well, most of them are 100 square meters. They have a front garden, they have a backyard, there are fences for dividing the backyards. And everybody has a car in front of the house. So that is a little bit how it looks. And what you also see is that now 21% of the residents are 65 years or older. Well, that was in the past, that was only 4%. And that's of course then the discussion which way to go if you look to these demographics changes. a changing population composition, and that creates new issues on housing stock, on the facilities, on the public space and social context. And now what we do is try to get new insight in those issues with the help of a lot of student researchers.
Mm-hmm. So, as I understood, there's this aging population there. So that probably is one of the social challenges that you are, and you said the demographics are changing, and so also social issues coming out of that. Is it mostly white, and what is the socioeconomic status of this neighborhood?
Well, it's hard to say, but on average, you can say that this is a middle-income neighborhood, mostly Dutch native people.
Okay. And so what does an average workday look like as a knowledge broker? We were wondering.
Yeah. Maybe I have to start then with what is a knowledge broker and what do I do for a living there. A knowledge broker may be hard to, it's maybe a little bit difficult term, but you can also use for this function the term a matchmaker or an initiator, stimulator, coordinator, or whatever. But what I do, I work for 4 different parties: for the municipality of Delft, for the Hague University of Applied Sciences, in Holland University of Applied Science, and for the Delft University of Technology. So, and what I do, I try to collect research questions from different parties in Delft, like the municipality, but also from residents and from social parties. And I try to connect those questions to the faculty or to a teacher or a researcher at one of those universities, so that students can do practice-oriented research. My average day of work, it's talking to a lot of people, trying to get that match between the questions that are in the neighborhood with the teachers. And when the research is going on, I try to give feedback, and when it's finished, I also try that we can communicate on what the research results are with other residents, that it's on social media, on local media. So depending on the stage of the different research, I do a lot of different things on an average day.
So if I were a teacher in one of those universities and I want my students to do research in the field, I can just email you and say, well, hello Gerben, I have this group of students and they need to do something for this project, and can you help me?
Yeah, that is the case, but to be honest, mostly it's the other way around. So the starting point mostly is that we start with what are the questions in the neighborhood by the municipality, by the residents and the social parties. And with that question, I'm going to find teachers who are going to match with that question.
Can I ask you, we've been talking to Karijn and Paul, a researcher and an inhabitant of Tanthof. So we got their perspectives on, for instance, what are the benefits of working with you and the challenges. But from your perspective, really, doing this job already for 2 years, what do you think are really the main challenges that you encounter in your job?
Well, different, many challenges, but what I just told is that creating a good match is one of the biggest challenges. Everyone understands that when you have a research question about, for example, aging or about the housing stock, that you will not involve students from aerospace engineering program. That doesn't fit. But the question is, of course, what is the right course, and that often requires a good search and talking with many teachers. And once you have found the right study program, the question is whether and when teachers and students are willing and able to practice that, of to participate. So one of the challenges then I think is also this disconnection between the way the knowledge institutions and its educational programs are organized, and on the other hand, often the impromptu demands for knowledge or research, because educational programs are planned far in advance. And have to meet rather strict requirements concerning the learning goals. So what I do is you have to be able to plan well ahead and get in touch with people early to get things along to alignment, etc.
Right. Yeah. As we are doing this podcast and seeing all the different innovations, I was also wondering, isn't it just a shortcoming of how the university has been organized? That we need an extra position like you to make these matches. If you look at structurally improving the way that we have societal impact as a university, I mean, wouldn't it be that teachers could be doing this much more, or maybe they need more time for this kind of thing? Just critically reflecting.
Well, that's a good question, because that's I think the search we are still in. How can we make it more structural, and where do we have to put this role of somebody who is more independent with a neutral role? I don't think you can put it all to a teacher, because the teacher has one other goal. He has to. His teaching is for the development of his students, that they can evolve in how they do research, how they cope with residents, etc. On the other hand, we have these questions from the neighborhood. So I think that something like a knowledge broker, somebody who's got that function of an intermediary right in the middle, I think you can. I think that's a very good position you should have also in the near future, because I think that's one of the strongest points of the way it's working now. That there is somebody who can mix it together, who can be a critical friend, who also can be a referee sometimes, for that everybody gets his interests, and that we go along.
What is it? Can you give an example of when you were really a referee? What you really thought, here I have to get these people together, because now it's not going the way it should be.
Yeah, maybe his referee is too, how do you say that? It's too formal. Sometimes when you're in a meeting and you're talking about the product the students have to make at the end of the research, or the kind of research they have to do, because sometimes the teacher already have formulated that it should be interviews or a questionnaire. But sometimes that doesn't fit in with the question that is on the table from the residents. Well, then it's handy that there's a referee, a critical friend, that you compare all the different wishes from all the parties at the table, and you can mix it up a little bit. You get this, then he get that, and then we are all very happy. So maybe that's what I mean with a referee. That not one of the parties is going away with nothing, and the other party gets everything of his wishes.
Are there other challenges you encounter in your job?
Yes. If you look at another challenge is always making this discussion and making more a clear distinction between the roles of the different parties that are involved. Dividing the different tasks that there are for the teacher, the students, and the clients. So normally in educational program there is only the teacher and the student, but now there's a third party at the table, and it's not always very clear for the teacher or for the clients, which I mean then the municipality or social party is involved in the research, from who is doing what at what time. So for me it's also a surprise how it's going to fit and how it's going to align and coordinate.
If you still have some good advice, short, brief advice for people that are wanting to set up a knowledge broker position, what would you say? Like, listen, I'm in Germany and I would this is an interesting matchmaking position. What should they really not forget when they get started?
For me, it really works to work bottom up. So start with the questions that are really there in the neighborhood. Try to get different parties involved, not only the residents but also the municipalities and the social parties, and begin really with the enthusiastic teachers, the enthusiastic civil servants from a municipality, so that other people can see what it can deliver when you have something like a practice-oriented research by students, because then other people see from, hey, that's the best practice, or that's very interesting to get involved with, so you get more ambassadors for your research. And what I said before, really try to get that if you are going to make a function of a knowledge broker, please give him or her an independent, neutral role. So he or she has the freedom to participate and give a critical opinion or think along with all the different parties, and that he or she is not incorporated by one vision of one company, because probably that's one of the success factors, I think.
Okay. Because you're then able to match everybody and not be associated with only one of them and
exactly.
take their side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you share, to make it also more concrete, one or two or three even questions that the neighbors, the inhabitants of the neighborhood really put forward to you?
Yes, of course, there are different questions. They came in from the residents, but also from the social party and the municipality. So, and that ended in different kind of studies we have done so far. So, approximately 50 projects with 1,000 students. Some of them are about the energy efficiency, the energy transition of the housing stock. So what do we have to do? Exactly, the residents, they hear a lot about the energy transition for the housing stock, but they don't really what they can do in the short and the long term with their own housing stock. So they invited different students from The Hague University of Applied Science to give them advice for their own houses. What could they do in short term and long term if they want to go along with this energy transition? And if we move along to the subject of aging, there was from different social parties the question from how do the different elderly live in Tanthof, of their housing, but also from their mobility. So different students from one program did a research in the way the elderly move within Tanthof and how they go to places elsewhere in the city. Do they use their car? Do they use their bicycle? Do they use public transport? What are the pros? What are the cons? And how and that will give new advice for how the municipality or the social parties can interact with people who are 75 years and older, and if their mobility is going down, what can you do so that they're still going into different shops, that they still can go to different families. So, two examples.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks, Gerben Helleman, knowledge broker for the Hague University of Applied Sciences, the Delft University, and the Municipality of Delft.